This weather discussion video for Wednesday, the 17th of April. I'm Donovan Neal. Potential exists for a significant hailstorm, our annual significant hailstorm here in North Texas this afternoon through the overnight hours. We stay dry for the rest of this week, and Easter weekend is shaping up to be very dry and mild. But what about this hailstorm? Will we see tornadoes, and where will the hail land? Hopefully we'll be able to answer all of your questions. As we always do with these videos, we'll start out with the upper air chart. This is the upper air look at 500 millibars. This is looking at around 18 to 20,000 feet off of the ground. You can see we have that trough that's basically moving through the southwestern states. That'll basically be our main catalyst for severe weather, as it provides dynamic support in the upper air. Take a look at the temperatures earlier this morning, mostly in the upper 60s to low 70s. Earlier this morning at around 4:35, and of course once we hit the afternoon hours, those temperatures will skyrocket to the low 80s. And around the nation, take a look at a watch warning map. We're quiet now, with the exception of a few flash flood watches in effect for parts of the Arklatex region, and also parts of the northern tip of Maine as well. And even some red flag warnings for areas to the southeast of El Paso, out in West Texas. But in North Texas, we're quiet now, but this is the day one outlook. We have an enhanced risk of severe storms for basically over parts of southern Kansas and parts of central and northern Oklahoma, and also a northeastern tip of the Texas Panhandle. And of course, that extends all the way down to North Texas and all the way down into central Texas, and even some parts of South Texas as well. And then surrounding that, we have the standard slight risk of severe storms. It basically surrounds that area, basically runs through the Arklatex region, through parts of Missouri, Kansas, West Texas, and also parts of southern Texas. And then going down from there, we have a marginal risk of severe storms, which basically extends all the way through Laredo and Corpus Christi and Houston and Galveston. And then for our West Texas buddies, of course, they have the risk of thunder. Places like Abilene, San Angelo, Galveston. They'll see some thunder, but no organized severe weather is expected. Let's take a look at the tornado probabilities. You can see that tornadoes not really the primary threat. Although the tornado threat is increasing, it's not really the primary threat, but it's basically maximized over the enhanced risk area. The damaging wind threat will mostly be in the northwestern corner of the enhanced risk, basically from northern Oklahoma through southern Kansas and through the tip of the Texas Panhandle. We'll have more of a damaging wind threat as the storms congeal into a squall line later tonight. But let's take a look at those hail probabilities. This is the main thing we will have to deal with today. Now, you can see that we have the black lines, that's the hatched area. That means that there is pretty much a 30% chance of significant hail occurring within 25 miles of any given point within that map. And of course, that's quite significant, or we could see some baseballs or even some grapefruit-sized hail through parts of North Central Texas, and parts of central Oklahoma and southern Kansas as well. And of course, that'll be quite significant. Normally, when we have these threats, we usually have billion-dollar hail events. So, we're hoping and watching and seeing that this is not the case at all. But clearly, the threat exists for some big-time hail today. And then tomorrow, that activity shifts off to the east in the deep south. That turns more into a tornado and wind risk. And on day 3, which is Friday, that activity shifts off into the Carolinas and the Virginia region. Now, this is the average precipitation for the next 7 days, followed through Wednesday morning and next week. Heaviest totals remain still in the Mississippi River Valley, the lower Mississippi Delta. And down here, you could see amounts up to 2 inches or more for parts of North Texas. And of course, with their storms, of course, in the areas where storms train over, we could see areas around, of course, higher, 3 to 4 inches. And of course, that's very significant, and that will lead to a threat for some localized flash flooding. So let's go on to the model output, as we always do with these videos. This is the GFS run. This is the 18Z run, valid this afternoon at 1 o'clock. This is the look at 500 millibars, around 18 to 20,000 feet off the ground. I know most of you are new to this because lots of people watch our videos prior to big events like this, and this is something that they normally don't show on TV, but we show it here. That's why we call it the Texas Weather Discussion video. But anyways, this is the GFS. You can see we had that trough in the West Texas, and down here by 1 o'clock, surface low and the dry line hasn't quite reached our area to produce any severe weather yet, but it's still approaching the Texas Panhandle at that point. But let's take a look at the HRRR models, one of our mesoscale forecasting models. This is the high resolution rapid refresh model at around 8 o'clock this afternoon, the 8 o'clock this evening rather, and you can see the storms are very isolated in nature, and that's what's very dangerous about these storms, is that they're very isolated in nature. They'll have less convection to fight off, and of course if we have less storms, that means they'll tend to be stronger, and you can see these will be big time hailers across the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex. And then after a while, these storms will increase in nature, and eventually they'll congeal into a squall line. But the main thing we'll have to deal with is big hailers, and this is why. This is the instability values. This is the surface-based CAPE, and this is pretty much a powder keg here, around 4,000 joules per kilogram, and perhaps even more of instability to work with over much of the metroplex and much of the north central Texas region, and that is very, very significant, and that's a very big indicator of hailstones up to baseball size or larger for parts of North Texas. And this is the bulk shear values, turning in the wind with altitude. And this is more than sufficient for some big hailers, around 55 to 65 knots with isolated higher amounts for much of north central Texas. And of course, if that verifies, we'll have some big time hailers combined with that extreme instability. And that instability is just rather significant. But one thing we'll have to deal with is the lapse rate, still very significant, 7.5 to 8.5 maximized over the north central Texas corridor. And like I said, that only just goes to show you how big the hail threat is. And let's just for funsies, let's take a look at these STP values, the significant tornado parameters at around 7 p.m. this evening, and you can see that basically peaks out at around 2 to 3, and of course anything above a 2 will have a great chance of seeing a few tornadoes, and it's peaking out near 3 in some places. So I think first we'll have to deal with some hail, and then we'll deal with a subsequent tornado threat. And a few tornadoes will be possible as we progress through the evening hours. But however, as the sun goes down, the jet stream will continue to increase, which also means the millibar flow could bring more cyclic curvature and will increase the tornado threat. And the upper air forcing will start to kick in, so the tornado threat will increase as the sun starts to go down. So it's like we lose one, but we gain two. So we'll continue to watch this as we progress through the overnight hours. But this is another look at the map over North Texas. You can see we're still in that enhanced risk. I think our main window for seeing some severe thunderstorms over the north central Texas region starts at around 4 p.m. and lasts through midnight. And yes, I do think we'll have a severe threat through midnight as we have the potential to have multiple rounds of these severe storms. And now in East Texas, you can see severe thunderstorms as early as 11 p.m. lasting all the way through the morning hours on Thursday. So obviously this is a severe weather event with very large giant-sized hail, a main primary threat. We could see billions of dollars in damage, even with hail protection in place. And of course, a few tornadoes will be possible, with the tornado threat greatly increasing with the isolated supercells that last past 8 o'clock. So hopefully everyone has their plans in place to protect their property. Everyone has a way to receive warnings, and everybody has and everyone's just prepared for this. Make sure you have multiple ways of receiving warnings. Your building should have a NOAA weather radio, and you should have emergency alerts enabled on your phone. But as we head into tomorrow, that storm system starts to clear air, heads into the deep south region, affects that area. We stay a bit cooler as a result of the cold front, and windier as well. We have a wind shift to the northwest at around 25 miles an hour. Highs will be in the low 70s. And then on Friday we warm up a little bit, but we turn mostly sunny. Highs in the mid 50s with a northerly wind of 15. Here's Saturday, pretty much the same deal. Highs mostly in the low 80s, very very windy, and pretty much the same thing on Sunday. And here's Monday of next week. We could see a couple of isolated storms on Monday. Wouldn't be surprised there if we see that. Highs mostly in the low 70s. Same thing on Tuesday. And a week from today, Wednesday the 24th of April. We have shortwave troughing in the West Texas and down here. It looks like we'll have to deal with another round of thunderstorms for parts of for much of Texas actually. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was a severe weather look there, but of course that's way too early and a lot of things can still change. And here's the end of the 10-day forecast period. This is Friday, the 26th of April. You can see we pretty much have a ridge developing, and as a result, central United States stays dry as a result of that ridge. But you can see from the numbers for the next 15 days coming off the GFS ensemble, temperatures after today, temperatures mostly in the low 70s for the next 2 days, and then really for the rest of this month through early May, temperatures roller coaster through the low to mid 80s for the rest of this month. And of course summer fans will definitely enjoy that. That's it for the Texas weather discussion video for today. More notes in the blog. Next video here will be posted at around 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. If you can't catch your local TV stations on the air this afternoon at 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Stay weather aware, and Godspeed.